Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today we're going to be talking about vault weapons. Of course, one of the things, the major features that a lot of people want to see for them is attachments, and as the title of this video may have given away, that's what we're going to be talking about today and how they could possibly be coming to Battlefield 2042 soon. On top of that, we also have some new Season 4 information courtesy of Temporal, so stay tuned for that. As always though, if you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Coming in close on 41k. Thank you guys for the support, you are awesome. So I decided to throw up this video after having watched the Inside Battlefield podcast, episode 4 I believe it was, and this particular episode was all about the weapons of Battlefield 2042. So they had Alexander Formoso, the game designer for the weapons, and they also had Ben Walk on there, who is the producer. And as usual, Tom kind of grilled them about all kinds of different things regarding the weapons in 2042. And specifically here, one of the main subjects were the vault weapons. And basically the reasoning they gave for not having any attachments and skins available for the vault weapons wasn't because they thought it would be bad for balance or they wanted to stay true to nostalgia, which is actually what they'd said previously. But it was essentially that they just had to prioritize certain things, and when Battlefield 2042 came out, the amount of weapons, the weapon selection was pretty abysmal. You guys who were here at the start will probably remember we only had 2 LMGs and a smattering of other weapons to choose from, so they essentially decided to make it a top priority to bring more weapons into the game. They'd seen our feedback, we were all shouting from the top of our lungs, why don't you just bring the portal weapons into the main game? And that's what they decided to do. However, they had to make a call, you know, do we want to bring them into the game as they are? Do we want to bring them in and make new skins for them and new attachments? Because that's going to take more time. And so the route they decided to take was to basically start bringing in weapons in Season 2 and just trying to fill out each weapon category until it's gotten to the point that it's at now, where, as Ben put it, it's sort of reached this critical mass where you no longer feel as though there are too few weapons in the game. If you're a new player coming into Battlefield 2042, quite the opposite, you probably feel like the selection with all the new stuff from the past 3 seasons, plus all the vault weapons, is pretty nice. It's a decent amount of weaponry. The problem, however, we've all been running into, at least for myself, is that the vault weapons just aren't really up to par. To me at least, they're just not worth picking up, and they can't hold a candle to most of their competitors from the base game. So whenever I see 2 more vault weapons added to the game, it doesn't really fill me with excitement because I know they're most likely going to be somewhat lackluster. But they did mention here that there are plans to bring both skins and attachments to the vault weapons now that, as Ben said, it's reached this critical mass where there are enough weapons in the game. They're now going to maybe start to double down on putting out skins for all the vault weapons at once and attachments. Now, speaking of attachments, they did actually reveal that patch 3.2.1 will be releasing tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow morning, so that's Tuesday the 14th of February. And that is, of course, the patch where they're rolling back the drum magazine ADS nerf. If you want to find out all about the contents of that patch, feel free to check out my video here in the corner. But that's interesting to me because this also begs the question, how are you going to add attachments for vault weapons? What can they really do to bring them on par with the base weapons in the game? And I suppose the obvious thing is really they've either got to add larger magazines to all the weapons, right? I think drum magazines come to mind, or they're going to have to significantly buff the damage of those weapons so that even though they have a smaller magazine capacity, the TTK of them is going to be much faster. But then that of course introduces a whole slew of other balancing problems against the base weapons in the game. Now, when I posted that video on patch 3.2.1 and that they were reverting the changes to the drum magazines, most players were happy with that because it was kind of an irritating change, and all of us have gotten used to our lovely big drum magazines at this point. But there were of course people who still have an issue with that, and I can understand it, right? At the moment, you slap on that drum magazine and that is pretty much your go-to. There really is no incentive to take an extended mag or a standard magazine when you have the drum mag. However, I don't think the way to balance this is by nerfing reload speeds or accuracy. In fact, in some weapons in Battlefield 2042, this has already been balanced really, really well, and you have plenty of options to use within the plus menu. Take the M5A3 for example. On that weapon, you have 3 different types of ammunition that are each good within their own niche. So you've got the close combat ammunition that increases the rate of fire of the weapon and is great up close. Then you've got the standard ammunition for medium range, and then finally you've got high powered ammunition for longer range encounters, but it really nerfs your rate of fire, so it's going to be terrible in a close quarters encounter. Not only do these different ammunition types change the damage, but it also changes the rate of fire of the weapon and the amount of rounds that you have available on a magazine by magazine basis. And with that particular weapon, I often run it and swap between magazines on the fly. Same thing goes with the PP29, right? You've got standard ammunition there, you get 64 rounds, slightly faster rate of fire, or you can go with the high power rounds, you get 54 I believe it is, but you lose a little bit rate of fire and you gain some power. So in my mind, they already have the solution to this problem in front of them. You know, if you want to have magazines of differing size and you want players to use them, you have to change the rate of fire on the weapon based on the magazine and change the damage output of the weapon as well. The BSVM is another great example of this. Now, unfortunately though, this doesn't go for all of the weapons across the board. The SFAR comes to mind. With that weapon, you unlock the high power drum magazine and you're good to go. There really is no reason to use any other magazine on that weapon, since the drum mag has the highest amount of rounds and it's the high powered ammunition, so it also does the highest amount of damage. Why would you really want to use anything else? Same thing goes with the K30. That weapon just chews through ammunition at a monumental speed, so why would you want to change it to anything else? Anyway, I'm not certain exactly how they plan to balance this out. I'm sure they're looking into it, but like I said, in my opinion, it's staring them in the face. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and comments down below on this specific subject. Do you agree with me here? Do you think this would be, you know, too overpowered? Or would you just rather see like a baseline damage buff to all of the Vault weapons and keep the magazines in their current nostalgic fashion? Okay, moving on here, we've got some new Season 4 information, courtesy of the one and only Temporal, of course, and this time it is the new Season 4 gadget, at least one of them that we know of. So this is the SPH explosive launcher, and the description says this sticky explosive launcher is loaded with a casing housing 2 projectiles. Once fired and attached, the projectile will explode after a short delay. And the class speculation for this particular gadget is that it will be an assault gadget, because the unlock criteria for the weapon is probably going to be something like use, you know, assault rifles, get a certain number of kills with assault rifles, something to do with the assault class. As it says in the description here, it has a casing housing 2 projectiles, so I want to kind of guess it's like some sort of double-barreled shotgun. At least you're almost certainly going to have 2 rounds that you can fire before you have to reload, and these are going to be something similar to like Semtex from Call of Duty, you know, some sort of sticky bomb that will most likely be used more often than not as a denial of area weapon or gadget. So if you've got some enemies trying to encroach around a corner, you can go ahead and stick one of these bombs on the wall, and well, if they walk into it, obviously they're going to die, so that's going to keep them at bay for a little while. This definitely has the potential to be extremely overpowered. I think DICE are going to have their work cut out for them balancing this, and it also has the potential to kill you based on stupid teammates. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this thing will 100% be possible to stick to enemy players. So let's say you're playing Breakthrough, you've got a bunch of defenders, you stick one of them with a grenade, he runs back around the corner into all of his teammates, all of his support guys that are waiting there to revive him, and he blows them all up. How many players are probably going to end up doing that? So that's certainly going to be interesting to see there. And then one last thing here before we end. They did mention in the podcast that apparently there will be 4 weapons in Season 4. In previous seasons, we've only seen a maximum of 3 new weapons, and of course there's also going to be new Vault weapons on top of that. So far from Temporal, we have heard about the RM68 Assault Rifle, the AC9 SMG, and the RPT31 LMG. So there's one more weapon to come here, and my guess is that Temporal is going to drop that tomorrow. Any guesses on just what kind of weapon it could be? We already have an LMG, an assault rifle, and an SMG, so that means it's probably going to be a sniper rifle. I'm going to go with a sniper rifle, even though we have the Rorsch, which is a utility, and it's kind of a sniper rifle. I'm going to say we're going to get a good, solid, beefy, like, Barrett 50 cal beast. That's my guess. That's my shot in the dark. Now, if you wish to learn more about the weapons coming in Season 4, go ahead and check out these videos where I covered those leaks in great detail. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.